Next up, Cavian Bryant gets an offer from Texas. This is a 2027 quarterback, highly rated, already a top 40 player according to 247 Composite. I think he ends up being a 5-star recruit by the time that cycle's over. That's how talented this guy is. Dual sport athlete with basketball and football. Dad is a Division I or former Division I basketball player at Mississippi Valley State. Gerald, what do you like about this guy? What do you think it says about Texas? Because he's not your prototypical Steve Sarkisian quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I think Texas and Sark are really willing to look at the right players. And I think in high school as his sophomore tape, he's not a prototypical Texas quarterback based on play style. But I think if you look at what he does with the ball when he throws it, he's got the arm strength that Steve Sarkisian covets from a quarterback. And I think that's the big differentiator. I think Sark is looking at, and I think in college football in general, it's moving toward a world where you're not going to have statue quarterbacks. I think the last statue quarterback Steve Sarkisian is ever going to have is Mac Jones, and he turned Mac Jones into a first rounder. We saw how that worked out. But ultimately, Cavian Bryant, when you watch his deep ball, he's got a great touch on the deep ball. He's got a really good, strong arm. And I think he's going to develop as a natural passer under Sark and then bring with him that athleticism that we see. Recruiting cycles past probably would have been classified as your dual threat guy where, it's kind of, he needs some development as a passer, but as an elite runner. This kid is one of those elite runners. He isn't, you don't want to call him a run first quarterback, but he's, maybe a little too quick to abandon the pass. Again, he was a sophomore playing varsity ball. So you have to take that into account, but can be a game changer with his feet as well. I think when you look at what Sark values in a quarterback, he's big, he's got a strong arm, and I think he's able to move the pocket in a way that will allow him to be successful at the next level, because that's just what college football is, and football in general is you have to have a guy who's able to reset the pocket and move when things break down.
Yeah, so he's 6'2", 180, so already pretty big for his age. I think probably 6'3", 6'4" is what he's going to end up being. But, I mean, he's an elite prospect, like I said, in basketball and football. This guy averaged 28 points per game as a freshman in basketball, and his team, I think, either won or came in second for the division in Texas. So really, really high-level athlete. Last year, guys, as a football player, 2,422 yards passing, 34 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and this is insane. 82.2% completion percentage, which is absurd. Ran for 709 yards and 11 touchdowns. I mean, like we talked about earlier on, the tape, and then he's also got athletic traits that are just off the charts. I think this guy's going to be a really good football player wherever he goes. He talked about, how Texas was like that dream offer. He got super excited about it. So maybe this is the guy we key in on, and he's committed to the University of Texas, probably how they do it by next summer. That's how this would work usually. So in a year's time, he could be in that class for 2027. And this is just total projection, but I see a little bit of Jaden Daniels from the Commanders. I think there's a little bit of that game, or a little bit to him. And I think he can be a really, really good football player for Texas. Again, total projection. Like, this guy just finished his sophomore season for football. So I don't know what we're going to see down the road. He could completely stop growing. He could choose basketball, and then, maybe we can pursue him for basketball, but I'm not sure what happens here. But all I know is this guy's a really good football player. I think he projects pretty well, and he seems like he really wants to go to the University of Texas, or at least thinks very highly of the University of Texas.
And I'm glad that it's shifting. I'm glad folks are regarding Texas, period, right? Because for a long time, kids like this were not regarding Texas. And so, we've seen a shift in the last 5 seasons where these elite kind of guys, these top 50 kids, Texas is now one of their dream offers again. And not just because they're from the state, but because Texas is a place that's playing well, that's winning, that's putting guys in the league. So Texas's ability to continue to do that over the next couple of years will be great. And if, Texas, if Sark has his druthers, I'm sure he'd probably have his quarterback, whoever it is, whether it's Bryant, or go back and watch us last week. You talked about some other prospects as well. I think Texas wants to have probably their guy locked up going into his junior year. You see that's pretty standard nowadays in recruiting. So hopefully in the next 3 or 4 months, we see whoever it is, Texas pulls the trigger on Texas, and they have that locked up going into this next season.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be very interesting. And it'd be crazy if we go from Arch Manning to Dia Bell to Gunnar Rivers to Kavian Bryant, all former athletes, kids, and all really, really talented in their own right. So again, guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. It really helps us out. That does it for Kavian Bryant, gets offered from Texas. And that does it for the 56th edition of Texas Longhorns Live. We really appreciate you guys being here. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe.